Welcome to our gardening video, Starting with Seeds. My name is Kathy, and I'm a librarian at the Salinas Public Library. If you picked up one of our maker kits, in it you would have received a pruner or floral shears, cultivator or trowel, a pair of gardening gloves. In the floral kit, you would have received an annual like a zinnia or a marigold, and sunflower seeds. In the vegetable kit, you would have received a tomato plant and basil seeds. Seeds come in all different sizes. These sunflower seeds are large, the basil seeds are small. The size of the seed can make a difference on whether you start it in a pot or direct sow it in the ground. Sunflower seeds are big enough that they can go right into the ground, or they can be started in a pot and then transplanted once they come up. These basil seeds are a good example of a tiny seed. While you can sow them directly into the ground, if you do that, you have to be really sure that you can keep them moist. As they're so tiny, they'll be near the surface, and the sun on just an average day can dry them out and hurt the newly growing plant. That's why many people start these in pots. You don't have to spend a lot of money if you're going to start plants from seed. You can use something as simple as a toilet paper tube, or if you've saved a pot or a 6-pack from previous plants that you've bought, you can use those as well. When it comes to what kind of soil to use in your pots, any potting soil will do. You don't use soil from your garden, as that would be too heavy. If the soil has lumps, go ahead and break them up. You don't need to add any special nutrition at this point when the plant is germinating. That comes later. Here's a simple toilet paper tube with 4 cuts on one end. You fold each of the flaps down to help create the bottom. If you want to, you can put a little piece of tape to hold it closed, but once it's damp, it usually holds. And there you go. Next, you can get the potting soil into the tube. Go ahead and add some in, tamp it down a little bit. We want to be sure there aren't any air voids in the soil. You want it about 1/2 inch from the top, and if there's a large piece, you can either break it up or take it out. You can go ahead and tap it or put it on the table and give it a couple more taps. That helps make sure that things are settled. Then we're going to take a couple of the small basil seeds and very carefully drop them in place. You don't want too many seeds. Now you take a little bit more of the potting soil, drop it in on the top to cover up the seeds, and then gently tamp it down so you can be sure that the seeds are in contact with the soil. It's ready to go. It's the same process if you're using a 6-pack. Go ahead and fill the cells with soil. We're going to plant the sunflowers right now, so make a hole about 1/2 to 1 inch deep. Then go ahead and take the seeds, drop them in the little hole. They can be point down, they can be laying on their side. It doesn't matter too much. Now take a little bit more of the soil and go ahead and cover over the seeds. We don't have to bury them too deep. We just want to make sure that they're covered, and then gently tamp down the soil to make sure that the seed is in contact. And there you are, ready to go. It's the same process with a pot. Fill it with soil, give it a few taps to settle the soil. In this case, we're going to put some basil seeds in. Do your best to get them spaced out. It can be hard with the really tiny seeds. And then we're going to go ahead and put a little more soil over the top. Make sure they're covered, and then gently press to make sure the seeds are in contact with the soil. Now it's time to give them a good water to get them started. I'm doing this outside because it's easiest, but I'm going to take these pots indoors where it's warm so the seeds can germinate. It may take a couple of waterings to get everything evenly wet. Remember, you want the soil moist but not waterlogged, and it can take 2 weeks for seeds to sprout. Sunflowers can go direct in the soil if you want. I'm going to put my sunflowers behind some vining plants that I've grown. I'm making a little trench for them, about 1 inch deep. Whoops, there's a weed. Out it goes. I've got the seeds with me. They're a variety. I'm going to put them in the ground, space them about every 4 to 5 inches, and just get them in the trench. Now that they're in, I'm going to go ahead and cover them over, patting the ground to make sure that the soil is in contact with the seeds. If I wanted to, I could put a little marker at each end so I knew exactly where they were. Now I'm going to give them a good water. They're going to need me to check them every day to make sure that they're moist while they're germinating. Whoops, a little water ran down. I'm going to move the soil around just a little bit. Give them a little bit more water. Just remember, it can be sunny and warm enough. You don't want the seeds to dry out while they're germinating. Thanks to our friends at Bouquet Nursery for their support, and thank you for watching our video. If you have any questions, please contact Kathy at the Salinas Public Library. Here's my contact info.